In the quiet town of Serenity, where everyone knows everyone, a chilling secret began to unfold. Nestled in a valley and surrounded by lush green hills, Serenity was the epitome of tranquility, the kind of place where people yearned for a simpler life. It was a picturesque tableau of small-town Americana, a main street lined with mom-and-pop shops, a few churches, and a close-knit community where everyone greeted each other with a warm smile. But beneath this idyllic facade, an eerie phenomenon started to emerge. The first few sightings of the doppelgangers were dismissed as mere hallucinations, the product of an overactive imagination, or perhaps too many drinks at the local bar. After all, it's not every day you see an exact copy of yourself walking down the street, mirroring your every gesture, even wearing your clothes. But these weren't mere reflections. These were entities that possessed an unsettling familiarity, a sinister sameness. As the sightings became more frequent, disbelief gave way to confusion and fear. The townsfolk were confronted with a reality that defied logic. How could there be two of them? How could these carbon copies exist? And more importantly, why were they here? These replicas weren't just innocently lurking in the shadows. They were active participants in the lives of the townsfolk, exhibiting disturbing and erratic behavior that sowed the seeds of dread deep within the hearts of Serenity's residents. And so, the town's routine was disrupted, its peace shattered. The once tranquil streets of Serenity were now filled with an air of suspicion and unease. The ordinary had turned extraordinary, the familiar had become foreign. The townsfolk were living in a mirrored reality, a chilling reflection of their own lives. And so, Serenity was no longer just a small, peaceful town. It had become a playground for the inexplicable, the uncanny. Unbeknownst to its inhabitants, they were about to descend into a world of chaos, their lives forever altered by the shadowy secret that now loomed over their once peaceful haven. As sightings of these doppelgangers increased, the town's tranquility turned into terror. These unsettling duplicates weren't mere lookalikes, they were mirror images with a sinister twist. They mimicked not only the physical characteristics of the townsfolk, but also their habits, their routines, their very lives. And yet there was something profoundly wrong about them. Take, for instance, Mrs. Jenkins, the town's beloved schoolteacher. Her doppelganger was seen standing motionless in the schoolyard, long after the children had gone home. Its eyes, devoid of warmth, stared blankly into the distance, as if waiting for something or someone. Then there was the duplicate of young Timmy, the paper boy. He was spotted delivering newspapers at midnight, his usually cheerful whistle replaced by an eerie, off-key tune that echoed through the deserted streets. The doppelgangers seemed to be everywhere, going about their routines with an uncanny precision that was both fascinating and terrifying. They moved with a mechanical regularity, devoid of any human warmth or emotion. Their smiles were cold, their eyes empty. The fear and paranoia among the townsfolk grew with each passing day. Neighbors grew suspicious of each other. Friends turned into strangers, families were divided. The once tight-knit community of Serenity was now a town living in fear, its residents unsure of who was real and who was a doppelganger. The sinister copies did not communicate, they did not engage, they just observed. Their unsettling presence a constant reminder of the bizarre phenomenon that had befallen the town. Whispers of conspiracy theories began to circulate. Was this a government experiment gone wrong? An alien invasion? Or perhaps the work of some supernatural entity? The theories were as varied as they were terrifying. As the doppelgangers continued to roam freely, the very fabric of Serenity was tearing at the seams. The town, once a haven of peace and harmony, was now a place of fear and uncertainty. The unsettling duplicates had transformed Serenity into a real-life horror show, and its residents were the unwilling stars. Fear turned into chaos as the town's residents scrambled to understand the origin and purpose of these sinister lookalikes. Like a snowball rolling down a steep hill, the town's fear gathered momentum, swelling into a monstrous avalanche of chaos. Every familiar face became an object of suspicion, a potential doppelganger harboring malicious intent. Trust, the very fabric that held this quaint small town together, began to unravel at its seams. Neighbors eyed each other warily, their once warm smiles replaced by furrowed brows and clenched jaws. Friends and families barricaded themselves in their homes, isolating themselves from the outside world in a desperate attempt to keep the insidious doubles at bay. The once bustling marketplaces turned into ghost towns, the eerie silence only broken by the occasional gust of wind or a distant dog's howl. Every knock at the door, every phone call, Every rustle in the bushes sent hearts racing and minds spinning into a whirlpool of dread and paranoia. The town was locked in a state of perpetual fear, every moment pregnant with the possibility of their worst nightmares coming alive. In the midst of this chaos, futile attempts were made to find answers, to bring some semblance of order to the madness. Town meetings were held, theories were proposed, solutions were sought, but to no avail. Every failed endeavor only served to stoke the flames of despair, the echoes of panic reverberating through the once peaceful streets. The local law enforcement, once a beacon of safety and order, found themselves in uncharted waters, grappling with a reality that defied logic and reason. Their guns and badges, once symbols of authority and security, seemed pitifully inadequate against this unseen enemy. The doppelgangers, with their unsettling smiles and uncanny mimicry, continued their reign of terror unabated, their motives as elusive as their origins. Serenity was spiraling into an abyss of uncertainty and terror with every passing day. In the midst of the turmoil, a few brave souls began their desperate quest for answers. As the town descended deeper into chaos, a small group of residents decided they had to do something. They were a disparate bunch, a school teacher with a knack for problem solving, a retired police officer with years of investigative experience, and a local historian whose knowledge of the town's past seemed to hold some relevance to the present crisis. Their mission was clear, but the path to understanding was shrouded in mystery. The group ventured into the heart of the town, braving the eerie silence that replaced the once familiar hustle and bustle. They were determined to understand the origin of the doppelgangers, to uncover the purpose of these sinister lookalikes. As they delved deeper into their investigation, they faced numerous challenges. The doppelgangers were not just passive observers, they were active, unpredictable, and dangerous. They seemed to anticipate the group's actions, always one step ahead. The team had to be careful, strategic, and above all, they had to stick together. Their efforts led them to disturbing truths. They discovered that the doppelgangers were not new arrivals. They had been there all along, hidden in the shadows, biding their time. They found old town records filled with similar incidents dating back centuries. It seemed the town had a long history with these unsettling duplicates. But as they unraveled the town's shadowy secret, they realized that the doppelgangers were more than mere copies. They were manifestations of the town's collective fears, anxieties, and darkest secrets. They were a mirror reflecting back the parts of themselves that they had chosen to ignore or suppress. Despite their efforts, the group was left with more questions than answers. The origin of the doppelgangers remained elusive, their purpose still a mystery. But they knew one thing for sure. They were not just dealing with their own doubles. They were confronting the town's darkest fears. The search for truth was a perilous journey, with every step leading to more questions than answers. The town of Serenity, once synonymous with peace, was now a haunting shadow of its former self. The quiet, idyllic life that the residents once savored had been replaced by an eerie silence, punctuated only by the echoes of the chaos that had unfolded. The doppelgangers had vanished as mysteriously as they had appeared, leaving behind a town scarred and shaken. People no longer greeted each other with warm smiles and friendly nods. Instead, every familiar face was scrutinized with suspicion, every similarity a potential threat. The doppelgangers might have left, but their impact was deeply ingrained in the townsfolk's psyche. The once tight-knit community was now fragmented, relationships strained by the fear and paranoia that had taken root. Trust, once freely given, was now a scarce commodity. Everyone was haunted by the chilling memory of their sinister lookalikes, their disturbing behavior a grim reminder of the town's darkest days. The town's dynamics had undergone a profound change. The bustling town square was now desolate, the laughter and chatter replaced by an uncomfortable silence. The children who once played freely in the streets were now confined to their homes, their innocent laughter replaced with hushed whispers. Yet, in the face of such adversity, the resilient spirit of the townsfolk shone through. They clung to hope, determined to reclaim their peace, their serenity. They rebuilt, slowly but surely, the physical reminders of the chaos. They started to heal, to trust again, but the scars remained, a testament to their harrowing ordeal. The fear lingered, a constant companion to the townsfolk. The doppelgangers had not just disrupted their lives, they had shattered their sense of security, their belief in the familiar, the known. In the end, Serenity was forever marked by the chilling presence of the doppelgangers, a grim reminder of the town's shadowy secret.